Hi friends, welcome back to Pictures and Paintings.
I am not an art student and I haven't done too many human portraits. So, right from the start, I knew that this painting is going to be a very challenging one and going to test my limits. I did not approach this any differently from what I normally do. I quickly blocked the shapes, and this stage also helps me relax a bit. So, once I knew that is working, I started sketching in the details. This is more like refining the very rough blocked shapes into something which is a little bit more clear. Once the broader shape is working, then I started going in and drawing the other elements like the eyes, nose, and as I keep progressing, I also keep correcting the proportions and ensure it is working really well. And in this case, I had a very interesting challenge of the mother gorilla lying down and looking at us with the face upside down. Luckily, I had the watercolor paper on a board which was easy to rotate, so I used it to my advantage. I just rotated it so that the face and later on the baby was facing me and then I can sketch. I try not to leave anything to be figured out during painting stage. So I try to sketch in as much detail as I can. Like in this case, the finger grooves and the fold of the skin. While this process consumes a little bit more time during sketching stage, it is a lot more easier when I get into painting, and particularly for someone like me who don't have formal art education, the pencil sketching stage allows me to correct my own shapes and form many times at a very early stage. I started my painting from the eyes. I was so nervous at the start. Gorillas, like humans, have lot of skin fold and features are very similar to humans. So getting something which is believable is very important. I started off with very pale base washes, and then once the form was coming, then I started adding the darker tones to it and ensured the lines were not very hard and kept softening them as I went about painting. Gorillas are gentle giants and they display many human-like behavior and emotion such as laughter and sadness. In fact, gorillas share 98% of their genetic codes with humans, making them our closest cousins after chimpanzees and bonobos. Altogether, it took me 30 plus hours to paint this, and I did that in multiple sittings. While I would ideally like a pale wash of everything painted and then evenly add details, at times like this, I change my style and I go about finishing one portion and then move on to the other regions. Once I finished painting the face, I was a lot more relaxed. I knew the colors were working, the skin details were coming out well, and the folds were looking very natural. So I knew that my technique was working and I need to just follow that up. There are two species of gorilla, the eastern gorilla and western gorilla. And both these species have two subspecies, eastern lowland gorilla and mountain gorilla, and western lowland gorilla and cross river gorilla. The western lowland gorilla is the most numerous of the four subspecies, and their population is estimated between 1 lakh to 2 lakh. However, due to the dense remote habitat, no one knows for sure how many of them exist. And the least numerous is the cross river gorilla and is roughly estimated to be around 300 individuals. Gorillas build nests out of leaves and branches on the ground or on trees and then sleep. And counting the abandoned nests is an effective way for scientists to estimate their population. And when we talk of counting gorillas, another interesting fact is that gorillas have unique nose prints, and individuals are identified on photographs by looking at their nostrils and the bridge of the nose. Our gorillas, Kumili and Diara, are western lowland gorillas, and they are in a zoo in Germany. Painting the skin fold details in both the hands and the legs were both interesting and challenging at the same time. It had lot of details and I had to be really patient when it comes to painting the folds. And also I ensured I had a little bit of brown going in there to break it from the body fur. Kumili doesn't have extensive fur growth on her body, so I did not have to bother about painting fur. I just had to indicate the hair growth here and there, and then it took care of creating the illusion of the fur. I had a good pass of Kumili at this stage, so I decided it's high time I start with Diara. I followed a very similar process to how I painted the mother. I started with the face, focused on the eyes. I was making a few changes from the reference photograph. I was trying to have the baby's face tilted more towards us, facing the viewer, and the eyes also slightly more towards the camera. So I went about painting the face even more slower compared to the mother. Once the face was getting some shape, I painted the fingers next. Gorillas have a lifespan of around 35 to 40 years, and in captivity, they are known to live even longer for over 50 years or so. Females are likely to give birth to only one baby every 4 to 6 years, and only 3 to 4 over their entire lifetime. This low rate of reproduction makes it difficult for gorillas to recover from the declining population. Luckily, over the last many years, the conservation efforts that has been taken up by WWF and other organizations and governments are making a difference for gorillas. New protected areas are being designated for some gorilla populations, and the population of mountain gorillas has continued to increase in the recent years, and interestingly leading to the downlisting from being critically endangered to endangered in the year 2018. Coming back to this painting, unlike the mother, Diara had a lot of fur on it, so I had to use a slightly different treatment. I again was careful not to go in and paint every strand, which would completely change the level of details on this picture and force me to add a similar one across the entire painting. So again, I had broad indicative strokes, and one easy technique is to show some of those strands around the edge of the paintings, which would give the illusion it is very bushy, furry, and we can get away by just painting some patches. It was really working out in this case, and I was getting the look I was aiming for. Out of everything that I read about gorillas, one fact stood out: how important it is to have gorillas to help fight the climate change. Gorillas consume huge quantity of food, mainly foliage, and will also swallow many large seeds. As the gorilla families moves through the forest, they defecate, thereby depositing seeds far away from the parent trees, thereby playing a key role in maintaining Africa's tropical forests. In turn, this contributes to the global carbon and water regulation and helps us regulate our climate. All the more reason to ensure we preserve this species.
Gorillas are an endangered species. As part of my current watercolor painting series on wild animals, I wanted to do a painting of gorilla and speak about them to create whatever little awareness I can from my end. And when I was scouting for a good picture, I came across this beautiful photograph by Arjan, and it was so surreal. Would a gorilla even do that? Was the first impression I got, and then it was a photograph, so it got to be true. The mother Kumili holding her baby in her legs, and the baby was so calm and comfortable, lying as if it's in a cradle. So I wrote to Arjan asking if I can paint this photograph. He was so generous and kind and gave his nod, and so you have it. I just did a couple of modifications to the original photograph. One eye of the mother gorilla was getting covered with hay. So I recreated that so that both the eyes were visible and it connects to the viewer. And similarly, the baby was looking off screen. So I just tried to connect the baby's eyes to the viewer. I hope it has come out well. But again, those are two little modifications I did to the original photograph. And one other thing is the photograph was taken in a zoo, so it had the look of a very confined environment. I tried to give a lot of greens to help us relate the gorilla more to their natural habitat. Please share your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be curious to see what you think. Thank you for watching this till the end. See you soon in the next one. Until then, bye bye.